We're in the Bible Story, Volume 4 by Arthur S Maxwell. In this story, Part 1, Story 3, Dummy in Bed. I wonder what this is about, but I kind of know, so I'm just saying to get you a question. Okay? Let's see. Now that David was married to Michal, you would think that King Saul would have got over all his unkindly feelings toward the young man. Not so. Instead, he became more and more angry with him, and even told his son Jonathan to kill him. That was the last thing Jonathan intended to do. He loved David and warned him of his danger. Then he went to his father and pleased with him to spare and pleaded with him to spare David's life. He remembered Saul of how David slain he reminded Saul of how David slain Goliath. You were there, he said. You saw what happened, and you were happy about it. Then why slay David without a cause? He asked. Jonathan won. Saul said he wouldn't kill David after all. Very happy, Jonathan ran to where David was hiding and told him that he could come back to the court and everything would be all right. So David returned and was given his old job back in the army again. For a while, everything was peaceful, and David played the harp. I know what it is. Played music for the king as he had often done many times before. Then war broke out against the Philistines again, and David was sent to fight them. Once more he returned victorious, and once more, of course, everybody cheered him. Everybody, that is, except Saul. His old jealousy returned, and he couldn't stand having the people say so many nice things about David. In a fit of rage, he threw his javelin at him again. Fortunately, the weapon missed him and struck the palace wall, but David thought it was time to go. Slipping out of the room, he hurried home and told Michal, M-I-C-A, Michal, I'm going to say Michal, what had happened. She was worried now. This time she felt sure her father would not change his mind. David would have run away at once would have to run away at once and hide. If thou save not thy life tonight, she said, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. Even while they were talking together, there was a banging at the door of their house. David guessed it was Saul's soldiers, come to take him prisoner, maybe to kill him. What should he do? He couldn't go to the door and fight them, but that might start a rebellion against the king, and he didn't want to do that. He could meekly surrender, or he could run away. He made up his mind. He would leave, but how? A window, suggested Michal. They opened it, and that night was dark. David climbed out and let himself down to the ground. There was a whispering goodbye, and he was gone. Michal closed the window and quickly put an image in David's bed to make it look as if he was there, fast asleep. Then she answered the door. Ah, that's the little dummy in the bed trick. You've seen it. All these little TV shows, they use their pillows now, I think. Some of these shows, though, see. Okay? He's sick, she said sadly to the king's messengers. He's in bed asleep. Don't wake him up. They demanded to see for themselves, so she let them in. There was but little room. There was but little light in the room. They took one look at the figure in the bed and concluded that if David was lying as still as that, he might be very sick, very ill indeed. Then they went and told the king. Saul was furious. He ordered them to go back and fetch David, bed and all. Bring him up to me in the bed, he cried, that I may slay him. The messenger obeyed. The messengers obeyed. But when they went to pick up the bed, they soon saw they had been tricked. For behold, there was an image in the bed, with a pillow of goat's hair from his brothers. What they said when they saw the dummy, we are not told. Maybe some of them laughed, but Saul didn't. He sent for Michal and gave her a real talking to for deceiving him. She didn't mind. She knew her father wouldn't wouldn't kill her. And meanwhile, David was safe, hurrying as fast as he could to Ramah to see Samuel. All that had okay, hurried as fast as he could to Ramah to tell Samuel all that had happened. And then, of course, it has an illustration of Micah and then with the dummy in the bed. And see, she's right there. And so he ran to Samuel. Okay, that was part 1, story 3. Now we're going to take a break, and we're going to start on the next one.